Good afternoon. My name is Ann Hinton. I'm a volunteer advisor with AARP California. Welcome to everyone who's joining us live. Today we are here with special guest Tina Wong-Erling, Senior Services Supervisor for the City of Campbell, to talk about caregiving and an upcoming virtual caregiver conference that you can register for. We encourage you to share this stream now on your own social media page so interested friends and family may also tune in. And please feel free to ask questions for Tina or myself in the comments. We'll take a few questions live toward the ends of today's conversation. Tina, thank you for taking time to be with us today. Before we dive into today's questions, can you tell us more about yourself and your work?
Good afternoon, Anne. It's a pleasure to be here, and the Planning Committee is very appreciative of AARP for the opportunity to share the Caregivers Count conference. So my background is social work, and I've specialized in the field of gerontology for 25 plus years. I've worked as a case manager as well as senior housing. For the past 20 years, I've worked in recreation at various senior centers sponsored by the City of San Jose. And for the past 9 years, I've supervised older adult programs with the City of Campbell. But I became an advocate for caregivers after caring for my own mother. Caring for my mom has resonated with me for many years, and it inspires me to help others, other caregivers through their journey.
Thank you, Tina. Now, being a caregiver for a family member or a loved one is one of the most rewarding, yet challenging jobs one can have. AARP offers an array of resources to support caregivers, which can be found at aarp.org/caregiving. Additionally, many communities provide resources for caregivers. I know you are part of an organizing team hosting the 2021 Caregivers Count Conference. Can you tell us more about the upcoming Caregivers Count Conference? Who is it for?
Absolutely. The 2021 Caregivers Count Conference is a multi-day virtual conference scheduled on September 11th, September 18th, September 25th, and ending on October 2nd from 10 a.m. to 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. This conference is designed to help and educate family caregivers, informal, unpaid, caring for older adults. The Caregivers Count Conference is organized by Bay Area professionals in the aging services sector. The Planning Committee, also known as the Caregiver Team, formed in 2007, and this is our 11th annual conference.
That's wonderful. And what topics will be covered during this free virtual Caregivers Conference?
We're really excited about this year's topics and speakers. The topics are relevant to the times and the challenges caregivers face. First, on September 11th, we have Lynn Teese Jones of Alameda County Care Alliance delivering the keynote address of self-care. Using her personal experience as a caregiver for her mom and her work with the Alameda County Care Alliance, Lynn Teese will share ways caregivers can care for themselves, find support, and experience healing. On September 18th, Gardner Health Services will present Caring for Someone with Mental Health Needs. An overview will be provided on common definition and understanding of mental health needs, factors that contribute to mental illness, how these mental health issues manifest, and most importantly, learn how you can help your loved one with these mental health needs, both from an emotional and an activity perspective. On September 25th, we have a topic that we've offered a number of times over the years, and it's one that pertains to every caregiver, and that is advanced care planning. Mission Hospice will discuss how to talk with your loved one about their wishes for care, how to choose someone to make healthcare decisions if they are unable to do so, and how to write down your wishes using advanced healthcare directives and physicians' order for life-sustaining treatment. Lastly, on October 2nd, our final session, we have executive directors of 2 adult daycare facilities presenting Adult Daycare Reimagined. An overview will be provided on adult daycare programs that range from structured socialization to daycare that includes physical therapy and other health options. Resources of different daycare programs in the Bay Area will also be provided.
Sounds like a terrific lineup. Now, I understand this event has been held annually for over 10 years. What are some of the things that you've learned about caregivers and their needs? Are you seeing some emerging new trends?
So over the years, we've learned a lot about the needs of caregivers from national and local statistics, as well as direct feedback from our past conference attendees. We've learned that the needs and number of caregivers are growing. Fewer family members are able to help, and typically responsibilities fall on one family member. We've seen some shifts in demographics as well. The average age of caregivers is 50s, but we're also seeing caregivers help in their 20s and 30s, most of whom are working. We see spouses and partners of similar age, but they're dealing with their own health issues at times. We see caregivers in their 80s and non-traditional older parents caring for adult children. So we're seeing that changing family structure in these different caregiving scenarios. We also hear from long distance caregivers, those of us like myself who get calls at senior centers from adult children seeking resources to keep their loved ones at home. The common needs are how to access long-term care, whether this is in-home care or long-term care placement. And the main issues are cost and affordability.
I want to remind folks that AARP provides an array of caregiving resources, such as a Prepared to Care guide, caregiving workshops, financial planning worksheets, how to navigate telehealth, and so much more. Here is a quick video that highlights where you can learn more.
Sorry about that. No, I've been staying at my dad's place because of everything.
Where are we going?
He's good. Yeah, I know, we keep missing each other. I've been working out of my dad's house, doing some reading. I should be working out more. I just feel like I'm drowning.
Navigating these times can be tough, but while you care for your loved one, you also need to care for yourself. Go to aarp.org/caregiving for free mental health and self-help tips.
In addition to aarp.org/caregiving, AARP has a dedicated toll-free family caregiving line for people taking care of loved ones. Our agents can't provide specific advice to callers, but they can suggest resources on a variety of topics. Agents are available to take calls Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The phone number is 1-877-333-5885. The support line is also available in Spanish at 1-888-971-2013. And Tina, I have another question for you. The Caregivers Count conference is typically for Santa Clara County residents, but this will be the second time you've held the conference online. Because it's virtual, can anyone with an internet connection register and participate?
Yes, indeed. Anyone with internet access can participate. In fact, our reach has increased since offering the conference virtually last year. The multi-day schedule also allows flexibilities for caregivers to pick and choose their topics of interest and join the conference from the comfort of their homes.
Thank you. Wonderful. And before we take a few questions live, I want to ask one more question. During the pandemic, both caregivers and their loved ones have probably spent more time at home and perhaps feeling socially isolated. Virtual or online programming has helped some. Can you share with us some resources that have been helpful for caregivers during this pandemic?
So indeed, the pandemic has affected everyone, but probably more so for caregivers and their loved ones who have become even more homebound as a result. As you stated, many programs have shifted online, and this includes programs for caregivers and their loved ones, including adult day programs. Senior centers are offering classes and activities virtually or in a hybrid model. There are online support groups for caregivers to consider. There's clearly a digital divide for some caregivers, and hopefully we'll see more funding become available to address the technology gap. In terms of the conference, I'd like to recommend 2 sessions, which I think helps to alleviate social isolation. The first is our Caring for Someone with Mental Health Needs on September 18th, because during this presentation, activities will be provided to help caregivers keep their older adult loved ones engaged. The last session on October 2nd, Adult Daycare Reimagined, also will provide programs and activities to help alleviate social isolation.
So we have a few live questions, Tina. And the first one asks if the conference will be in languages other than English.
That's a great question. We do not offer this particular conference in another language. However, there are other conferences in the Bay Area. In particular, there's a Latino Caregivers Conference, and we've partnered with them in the past. So I can provide that information so that this particular caller or person interested could have access to this conference. And in terms of other languages, there are other agencies that provide the conference in, for example, Mandarin Chinese. And there's a Vietnamese conference as well in the Bay Area. And for our conference in future years, we'll be looking at some translating opportunities so that we can have viewers participate and hear in their own native language.
Thank you. And just to remind people of the earlier comment that if you're looking for information regarding caregiving in Spanish, that hotline number is 1-888-971-2013. So a second question, well, actually, I'm going to go to the third question I see. Is the Caregiver Conference free?
Yes, it is. Registration is required so that we can email the Zoom link. So registration can be done at caregiverscount.net. That's our website for the conference. And there's also information on our website, such as resources and information about the conference, the speaker bios, and just very good information. So please visit our website.
Great. And then another question we have, has caregiving changed during the pandemic? What types of supports are available for people who are juggling multiple responsibilities? And I think you mentioned earlier some people working in caregiving and so on. So,
yeah, I think caregiving's probably intensified for many during the pandemic because there are less options or more limited options. Maybe those that had their loved ones in adult daycares that were shut down for some time, or even other programs like senior centers where I work. A lot of our programs haven't come back in person as yet, and the ones that have are still in hybrid model. So yes, the types of supports, I would reach out to local senior centers, adult daycares, and tune into our conference. Again, especially for on the October 2nd Adult Daycare Reimagined. I think that presentation will cover a lot of resources and a lot of options for caregivers to consider in that regard.
So Tina, we have a question regarding veterans and their dependents. And it was specifically asking if there are resources for them. And before you answer that question, I do want to comment that AARP offers a military caregiving guide for veterans, their service members, and their families. And it too can be found at the aarp.org/caregiving site. But Tina, could you give any more to that question?
Yeah, because this is such a broad audience, I'd recommend that the person asking this question check with their county's area agency on aging, and start there. Because, for example, in Santa Clara County, we do have a Veterans Administration. So it kind of depends on where the person lives. And again, I would start with the area agency on aging. And request specifically if there are any services for veterans or their dependents.
Might also be a good place for the questioner, the person who asked the question earlier about conferences or resources in other language too. Area agencies on aging are a good place to seek that information out. So I think those are all of our live questions at this moment. Tina, do you have any last words before we close?
Yeah, I'd just like to add that having taken care of my mom, I know the challenges faced by caregivers firsthand. I urge caregivers to allow others to help and not take on the caregiving role alone. A good way to learn how to manage the multitude of responsibilities and emotions is by attending the Caregivers Count conference, where you will find resources and identify with other caregivers going through similar circumstances. There are many community resources ready to assist and support caregivers as well as their care recipients. Please visit our website, caregiverscount.net. Also wanted to mention that our sessions will be recorded in the event that you're not able to attend all four. They'll be available after the conference at our website.
Great. Thank you, Tina. And I also want to take this moment to thank all the staff who've supported this live stream conversation. For anyone who joined the live stream late, we had an opportunity of speaking with Tina Wong Erling, Senior Services Supervisor for the City of Campbell, to talk about caregiving and the upcoming virtual Caregivers Count Conference. Caregivers Count Conference is an annual event designed for families and friends caring for their loved ones. The conference features professional speakers covering wide-ranging topics to support caregivers. It kicks off virtually on September 11th and takes place every Saturday until October 2nd. You can learn more at caregiverscount.net. That's caregiverscount.net. You can also find additional caregiver resources at aarp.org/caregiving. This conversation is recorded, so if you missed anything, you can go back and watch it again on AARP California's Facebook or YouTube accounts. I would like to end with a quote from Rosalind Carter. There are only four kinds of people in the world: those who have been caregivers, those who are currently caregivers, those who will be caregivers, and those who will need caregivers. With that, Tina, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking with you about the Caregivers Count Conference.
Thank you,
to our
Amy.
viewers, we hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining us live.